Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda He Krishna Karuna Sindhu दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदानेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। बोलो श्री राधे गोलोकानंद भगवान की
जय
बोलो श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
जय
जय
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण हरिवान हरे कृष्णा शिव प्रभु
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी
back.
बोलो तरुण हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा निशा Nisha is there too, and Anil ji, he's out of town this week. Won't be able to join this week. But again, resuming Srimad Bhagavatam, I know we had 2 weeks of pause. It's nice to restart. So, we started chapter 1, of 10th Skand. And 10th Skand is the one which is what everyone looks for, all the Srimad Bhagavatam, Saptaji, which we hear, right, are all like summary of 10th canto, 10th Skand. And that's what we are reading now. And that's all about Lord Shri Krishna, right? So the chapter 1 is a summary of the last chapter in 9th Skand was a summary of Lord Shri Krishna, a little bit of that. And now this one we have started reading about how Lord Shri Krishna took avatar. और जो हम लोग पहले पढ़ रहे थे तो हरे कृष्णा निशा
हरे कृष्णा
पहले जो हम लोग इस अध्याय में पढ़ रहे थे कि कैसे वासुदेव एंड देवकी का जब विवाह हो जाता है तो कंस हु इज ब्रदर ऑफ देवकी राइट ही इज ड्राइविंग द चैरियट एंड देन ऑन द वे आकाशवाणी होती है कि जिनको वो ड्राइव कर रहा है जिनको वो लेके जा रहा है उन्हीं का एक लड़का is going to kill Kans, yeah. And after that, he tries to kill Devaki, and so Vasudev then tries to explain to Kans that there is no point in killing Devaki. And then he gives all this updesh, which was very nice, right, about how the soul and the bodies are different. And he was trying to explain to Kans that there is no point in killing Devaki and everyone has to go one day. Why are you doing all this? He still doesn't listen. तो उसके बाद में वसुदेव दूसरा तरीका खोजते हैं और वो कंस को बोलते हैं कि उनके जितनी भी संतानें होंगी ही विल हैंड हिम ओवर देवकी को किल करने का कोई फायदा नहीं है उनकी जो भी संतानें होंगी ही विल हैंड इट ओवर टू कंस so that he will be safe. So then Kans agrees to that, and then that's where we are after that. What happens, right? So last week हम लोग 56 श्लोक पढ़ रहे थे पहले अध्याय का and उसका था कि each year thereafter in due course of time Devaki, the mother of God and all the demigods, says that Devaki Sarvadevata gave birth to a child. Thus she bore 8 sons one after another and a daughter named Subhadra, right? हम लोग सब जानते हैं, right? We all know the story of how 8 births happen, right, with Devaki and Vasudeva. And it says here Sarva Devata because what is mentioned is Lord Krishna is the root of all the devatas, right? So he is the root, right? He is the origin, Adi, Anadi. हम लोग जो ब्रह्म संहिता में भी पढ़ रहे थे, he is Adi like original. Anadi means there is no one before him, right? और हम लोगों ने ये भी पढ़ा है Shirodakshaya Vishnu, Karnodakshaya Vishnu, right? How Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, how everything takes place from Lord Sri Krishna, and also all the four different extensions which happen of Lord Sri Krishna, right? Vasudev, Aniruddha, uh, and Pradyuman, right? So Anantadev, we saw all that, and that's why she is referred to as Sarva Devata because she is the mother of Lord Sri Krishna. Yeah, that's why she is referred as Sarva Devata, and she also had a daughter named Subhadra. So we'll continue to read now, and from Shlok 57. Ajay.
कीर्तिमन्तः प्रथमजं कंसाय नकन्दुन्दुभः अपर्यामास कृच्छ्रेण सुनिता दति विह्वलः. Vasudeva was very much disturbed by fear of becoming a liar by breaking his promise. Thus, with great pain, he delivered his firstborn son named Kirtiman into the hands of Kans. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. In those days and even now, right, the big saints, right, the big personalities, they don't lie, right? So a fear of becoming a liar. So he had promised to Kans that he will hand over his sons. So the first son, Kirtiman, right, he hands over to Kans. Yeah. Nisha?
किं दुस्सहं नु साधूनां विदुषां अपेक्षितं किमकार्यं कदर्याणां दुस्तज्जं किं धृतात्मनाम्. What is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? How could there not be independence for pure devotee who know the Supreme Lord as the substance? What needs what deeds are forbidden for persons of the lowest character, and what cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna by those who have fully surrendered at his lotus feet? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what is mentioned is people who have fully surrendered to the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, they don't have to worry about anything. There's nothing painful for them, right? So they always stick to adhere to the truth. Yeah. Kim duha swam, no sadhu nam. Like for sadhu nam, nothing is more important than speaking the truth, is what is mentioned. Nice purport. So let's read this. Tarun.
Since the eighth son of Devaki was to kill Kamsa, one might ask what the need was for Vasudeva to deliver the firstborn child. The answer is that Vasudeva had promised Kansa that he would deliver all the children born of Devaki. Kansa, being an asura, did not believe that the eighth child would kill him. He took it for granted that he might be killed by any of the children of Devaki. Vasudeva, therefore, to save Devaki, promised to give Kansa every child, whether male or female. From another point of view, Vasudeva and Devaki were very pleased when they understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, would come as their eighth son. Vasudeva, a pure devotee of the Lord, was eager to see Krishna appear as his child from the eighth pregnancy of Devaki. Therefore, he wanted to deliver all the children quickly so that the eighth it's not visible. So that the eighth turn would come and Krishna would appear. He begot one child every year so that Krishna's turn to appear would come as soon as possible. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shiva Prabhu.
दृष्ट्वा समत्वं तच्छौरः सते च व्यवस्थितं कंसस्तुष्टमना राजन् प्रहसन्नदमब्रवीत्. My dear King Parikshit, when Kansa saw that Vasudev, being situated in truthfulness, was completely equipoised in giving him the child, he was very happy. Therefore, with a smiling face, he spoke as follows. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And of course, my dear King Parikshit, this is being spoken by
Sukadev.
Sukdev Goswami ji. Yeah. So Sukdev Goswami ji is the one reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam. And again, a nice purport. Let's read this. Ajay.
The word samavatam is very significant in this verse. Samavatam, samatvam, samatvam refers to one who is always equipoised, unaffected by either happiness or distress. Vasudeva was so steadily equipoised that he did not seem in the least agitated when delivering his firstborn child into the hands of Kans to be killed. In Bhagavad Gita 2.56, it is said, Dukeshva anudvigna mana sukeshu vigat spraha. In the material world, one should not be very eager to be happy, nor should be very much disturbed by material distresses. Lord Krishna advised Arjun, Matra sparsha tu kaunteya stosna sukha dukha daha agam pejno nityas tams titiksava bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O sign of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Bhagavad Gita 2.14. The self-realized soul is never disturbed by so-called distress or happiness, and this is especially true of an exalted devotees like Vasudeva, who showed this by practical example. Vasudeva was not at all disturbed when delivering his first child to Kams to be killed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. What is mentioned like in, oops, sorry. In Bhagavad Gita 2.14, yeah, like since we are here anyways, Sitoshna Sukh Dukkada, right? Like the winter and the summer, the happiness and distress passes through, is what is mentioned. Yeah. Okay, sorry, let's get back. Next slok. Anisha.
प्रतीयातु कुमारोऽयं न हस्म्यादस्ति मे भयम् अष्टमाद युवयोर्गर्भान् मृत्युर्मे विहितः किल. O Vasudev, you may take back your child and go home. I have no fear of your first child. It is the 8th child of you and Devaki I am concerned with, because that is the child by whom I am destined to be killed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so the Kans returns actually the first child back to Vasudeva. Sure.
Is this me? Okay. Tatheti sutmadai yaya van kadundubhim nabhyanadadva Yamasto avijitatmanaha. Vasudev agreed and took his child back home. But because Kansa had no character and self-control, Vasudev knew that he could not rely on Kansa's word. Hare Krishna.
Nandadhaye vrije gopa yaschamisham cha yoshite Vrishnayo vasudevadhya devakyadhaya dustriye Sarve vedevta praya ubhyorapi bharate gyatayo bandhu shuridho yeche kansumanuvrata. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj and including his associate cohort men and their wives, were none but denizens of the heavenly planets. O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the descendants of Bharat, and so too were the descendants of the Vrishni dynasty, headed by Vasudev and Devaki, and the other women of the dynasty of Yadu, the friends, relatives, and well-wishers of both Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev, and even those who externally appear to be followers of Kans were all demigods. Yeah. So, like as we read previously, right? It says Sarve Devata Praya. Like all the Nanda Dev Maharaj and all they were none but other than the Devatas who came in to be present during Krishna Leela, right? Vrishnayo Vasudevadhya. Everyone was Devatas is what is mentioned. Yeah. Tarun? Tarun?
Yeah. As previously discussed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, informed Lord Brahma that Lord Krishna would personally descend to mitigate the suffering on the earth. The Lord ordered all the denizens of the heavenly planets to take birth in different families of the Yadu and Vrishni dynasties and in Vrindavana. Now, this verse informs us that all the family and friends of the Yadu dynasty, the Vrishni dynasty, Nanda Maharaj, and the Gopas descended from the heavenly planets to see the pastimes of the Lord. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord's pastimes consist of paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha dushtaram, saving the devotees and killing the demons. To demonstrate these activities, the Lord called for devotees from different parts of the universe. There are many devotees who are elevated to the higher planetary systems. Prapya punya kratam lokan usitva saswati samaha suchinam srimatam gehe yoga bhrastro vijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Bhagavad Gita 6.41. Some devotees, having failed to complete the process of devotional service, are promoted to the heavenly planets to which the pious are elevated. After enjoying there, they may be directly promoted to the place where the Lord's pastimes are going on. When Lord Krishna was to appear, the denizens of the heavenly planets were invited to see the pastimes of the Lord, and thus it is stated here that the members of the Yadu and Vrishni dynasties and the inhabitants of Vrindavana were demigods or almost as good as demigods. Even though who externally helped the activities of Kamsa belong to the higher planetary systems, the imprisonment and release of Vasudeva and the killing of various demons were all manifestations of the pastimes of the Lord. And because the devotees would be pleased to see these activities personally, they are all invited to take birth as friends and relatives of these families. As confirmed in the prayers of Kunti, Bhagavatam 1.8.19, Nato Natya Dharo Yatha. The Lord was to play the part of a demon killer and a friend, son and brother to his devotees. And thus these devotees were all summoned. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So what is being mentioned essentially, like all those gopis and gops and Yadu dynasty and Vishnu dynasty at that point in time, right, were highly elevated personalities. Or so what happens, what is mentioned here is some devotees, right? Once you start the devotional service, what we have read so far is once you start a devotional service, you start getting pure and pure, right? You start getting more consciousness comes to light. You start your devotional service, those 9 different ways we have been reading, right? But then, it's not that sometimes in one lifetime you'll go back to Godhead. It really requires so much of tapasya and so much of devotion. But then what happens is still they get elevated to the high planets, or at least take birth as a human being again. So, but what is mentioned is by the many years of enjoyment on the planets of pious living entities. As you go to the higher planets, we know, right? There are 14 planets, and there are higher planets which have no disease and things like that. So, get promoted to that. Some devotees who have failed to complete the process of devotional service. Yeah. So they started, but maybe they failed. They did not reach to that height, is okay. But then they are promoted to the heavenly planets, right? So all those, and people who are really, really pious, who want to get darshan of Lord Sri Krishna, then they get an opportunity to then come back to play part in the Lord's Leela, right? Manifestations of the pastimes of the Lords, and then they come back to see that. So all the people that time were like either Devatas or the Rishis or the very pious souls, is what is mentioned here. Ajay?
एतत् कंसाय भगवाक्ष शंसाभेद्य नारदः भूमेर्भारामायणना दैत्यानां च वद्योदितम्. Once the great saint Narad approached Kans and informed him of how the demonic person who were a great burden on the earth were going to be killed. Thus Kans was placed into great fear and doubt. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And as we know, this Bhavishya Akashvani had already happened. But then Narad Muni goes to Kans and again informs him, right, that people who are burdened on the earth are going to be killed, and how that's going to happen, right? It says that it has already been discussed that Mother Earth implored Lord Brahma to give her relief from the distress created by the burdensome demons, and that Lord Brahma informed her that Lord Krishna himself was going to appear, right? So if you remember in the previous shlokas and the previous chapter, we read how Mother Earth went to Lord Brahma, and how Lord Brahma with all the Devatas and even Lord Shiva goes to the Kshir Sagar and does prayers of Lord Vishnu, where then Lord Vishnu assures, Lord comes into the Samadhi of Lord Brahma and tells him how he's going to appear as a Lord Krishna. Yeah. So, and same thing, then Narad Muni comes and explains it to Kans. Yeah. Nisha?
ऋषैर्विनिर्गमे कंसो यदुन्मत्वा सुरानिति देवक्या गर्भसम्भूतं विष्णुं च स्ववधं प्रति देवकीं वसुदेवं च निगृह्य निगडेर्गृहे जातं जातमहनपुत्रं तयोरजनशङ्क्या. After the departure of the great Saint Narad, Kans thought that all the members of Yadu dynasty were demigods, and that any of the children born from the womb of Devaki might be Vishnu. Fearing his death, Kans arrested Vasudeva and Devaki and chained them with iron shackles. Suspecting each of the children to be Vishnu, Kansa killed them one after another because of the prophecy of Vishnu would kill him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So earlier, Kans returned the first son of Vasudeva, right? But then when he came to know that what Narad Muni explained to him, he thought like any of the sons can be Lord Vishnu, and because of that, he arrests Vasudeva and Devaki, and then as we know, right, he starts killing each of those children. Right? Tarun?
Matram pitram भ्रातनम सर्वाश्च सर्वस्तथा ध्वन्ति स्तथा घ्नन्ति है अस्तुत्रो लुब्ध्या रजना प्रस्यसो भुवि. Kings greedy for sense gratification on this earth almost always kill their enemies indiscriminately. So, to satisfy their own whims, they may kill anyone, even their mothers, fathers, brothers, or friends. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And of course, what is mentioned is with the power-hungry people, they can do anything. Right? Atmanya sajjatam janan pragavishnu nahatam mahasuram kalanemim yadubiha sarvyarudhyata. In his previous birth, Kans had been a great demon named Kalnemi and been killed by Vishnu. Upon learning this information from Narad, Kans became envious of everyone connected with the Yadu dynasty. Yeah. So what happens is, Narad Muni informs him who was Kans in the previous birth, right? So now we know he was Kalnemi, and that was killed by Lord Vishnu. Yeah. And it's also mentioned here, persons who are demons, enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are called Asuras. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Asuras, because of their enmity toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, take birth after birth in Asur families and therefore glide down to the darkest hellish regions. Yeah? So that's where there's a difference in Devatas and demons. Yeah? Shiva Prabhu?
Yeah. Ugrasenam cha pitram yadu bhojan dhakadhipam swam nigraha bhuvaje shursenan mahabalah. Kansa, the most powerful son of Ugrasen, even imprisoned his own father, the king of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andhaka dynasties, and personally ruled the states known as Surasena. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so as we know, then Kans also imprisoned his own father, Ugrasen, right? And all the states were known as Surshen. It's also mentioned that Mathura was part of that because all the Yadu dynasty, the king Surshen, and then his son Ugrasen was leading that, and then Kans actually imprisoned everyone. Okay, and there's a big commentary at the end of this chapter, but so also thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 10th canto, first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Advent of Lord Krishna Introduction. Yeah. Follow
Hare
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
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 Yeah. So we'll continue to read the second chapter, which is prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. Right. So how when Lord Krishna appears, how devatas know, and the prayers they do is the primary focus of this adhyaya. Yeah? So we'll continue reading this. Ajay?
Yeah. Shri Shuk Uvach Pralambak Chan Rutu Ra Vart Mahashanay Mushtikarist Diputana Keshi Dhenukai अनैश्वर सुर भूपालय वर्ण भौमा द्रिभूयतः यदूनम कदनम चक्के बलि मागध संश्रयः. Sukdev Goswami said, under the protection of Magadha Raja Jarasandha, the powerful Kans began persecuting the kings of the Yadu dynasty. In this he had the cooperation of demons like Pralamb, Bak, Kanura, Chanura, Travalta, Aghasur, Mustika, Arista, Dvivida, Putana, Kesi, Dhanuka, Banansur, Naraksur, and many other demonic kings on the surface of the earth. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, right? And as we know, Kans was supported by all those demons, and Jarasandha was actually his father-in-law. Nisha?
ते पीडिता निविविशुः कुरु पञ्चालकेकयान् शाल्वान् विदर्भान् निषधान् विदेहान् कौशलानपि. Persecuted by the demonic kings, the Yadavs left their own kingdom and entered various others, like those of the Kurus, Panchalas, Kaikayas, Salvas, Vidarbhas, Nishadas, Videhas, and Koshalas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so all the Yadavs left Mathura and all the Sushan places and went to the other kingdoms. एके तमुनुरुन्धाना ज्ञातयः पर्युपासते हतेषु षट्सु बालेषु देवक्या उग्रसेनिना सप्तमो वैष्णवं धाम यमानन्तं प्रचक्षते गर्भो बभूव देवक्या हर्ष शोक विवर्धन. Some of their relatives, however, began to follow Kansa's principles and act in his service. After Kans, the son of Ugrasen, killed the 6 sons of Devaki, a plenary portion of Krishna entered her womb as her 7th child, arousing her pleasure and her lamentation. That plenary portion is celebrated by great sages as Anant, who belongs to Krishna's second quadruple expansion. Yeah, as we talked about Krishna's second quadruple expansion, right? There are 4 expansions: Vasudev, Aniruddha, right? Pradyuman and
Sankarshan.
and
Sankarshan.
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 Right. And the Sankarshan's extension is the Anantadev, yeah, who belongs to Krishna's second quadruple expansion. That takes the 7th child of Devaki, right? It says here, Saptamo Vaishnavam Dham Yam Anantam Prachakshate. So Anantadev gets into the garb of Devaki. Yeah. Shiva Prabhu.
Bhagwanapi Vishwatma Viditva Kansajam Bhayam Yadunam Nijnathanam Yogmayam Samadhishat. To protect the Yadus, his personal devotees from Kansas, attacked the personality of Godhead Vishwatma, the supreme soul of everyone, ordered Yogmaya as follows. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so Bhagwanapi Vishwatma, right? Atma of the entire universe, super soul. Yeah. So Yogmaya, which works under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. So he tells following things to Yogmaya, but nice purport. So let's read this. Tarun.
The word Bhagwan, Vishwatma, Viditva, Kamsajaya Bhayam are commented upon by Sri Ila Santana Goswami. Bhagavad Swayam is Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagwanam Swayam. He is Vishwatma, the original super soul of everyone, because his plenary portion expands as the super soul. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 13.3. Kshetre janam kopi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Lord Krishna is the Kshetra Jana or super soul of all living entities. He is the original source of all expansions of the personality of Godhead. There are hundreds of thousands of plenary expansions of Vishnu, such as Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva. But here in this material world, the Vishwatma, the super soul for all living entities, is Shodakshai Sai Vishnu. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.61, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridayadese Arjuna Tithistati. The Supreme Lord is situated in the heart of all living entities, O Arjuna. Krishna is actually Vishatma by his plenary expansion as Vishnu Tattva. Yet because of his affection for his devotees, he acts as super soul to give them directions. Sarvasya chaham vriddhi sannivisto mata smatir jnanam apohanam cha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. What this means is Sarvasya Chaham Vidhi Sanivisto Mata Smriti Jnanam Apohanam. Like everything, all the memory, remembrance, forgetfulness is all given by the super soul. What is mentioned? We continue to read this. Ajay.
The affairs of super soul pertain to Kshirodakshai Vishnu, but Krishna took compassion on Devaki, his devotee, because he understood her fear of Kansa's persecution. A pure devotee is always fearful of material existence. No one knows what will happen next, for one may have to change his body at any moment. Tat dehantara prapitaha. Knowing this fact, a pure devotee acts in such a way that he will not always his life spoiled by being obliged to accept another body and undergo the tribulations of material existence. This is bhayam or fear. Bhayam dvitiya bhini vesataha syat. Bhagavad 11.2.37. This fear is due to material existence. Properly speaking, everyone should always be alert and fearful of material existence. But although everyone is prone to be affected by the ignorance of material existence, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is always alert to the protection of his devotees. Krishna is so kind and affectionate towards his devotees that he helps them by giving them the intelligence by which to exist in this material world without forgetting him even for a moment. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, and this reminds us of the 10th slok of Bhagavad Gita 10.10, 10th chapter, right? Tesham Satatyuktanam, if you remember, where Krishna says that anyone who is purely devotional, he gives him the intelligence, the Dhami Buddhi Yogam, he gives them intelligence so that they can come back to him. Right? So that's what is being mentioned here as well, that Krishna is so kind that he gives us the intelligence to the devotees so we can always keep remembering him all the time. Yeah. So this Anisha. Sorry.
The Lord says, Tesam Ivanu Kampartham Aham Ajana Jamatamaha nas, nasayamya atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Bhagavad Gita 10.11. The word yoga means link. Any system of yoga is an attempt to reconnect our broken relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are different types of yoga, of which Bhakti Yoga is the best. In other words, in other yoga system, one must undergo various processes before attaining perfection. But Bhakti Yoga is direct. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 6.47, Yoginam api sarvesham mada gatena antaratmana श्रद्धावन भजते यमाम समे युक्ता yuktamo matah. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so as we know, Lord Krishna himself keeps mentioning in Bhagavad Gita again and again, right? That, and he has explained Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, right? And then he tells that Yoginam api sarvesham, the one who is at the topmost of all the yogis, is the one who is worshipping me in transcendental loving service, right? In the devotional service. Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam. Yeah. So one who is doing that, the loving service, what happens? Same yuktatmo matah. Like is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Yeah. And even it says here, for the bhakti yoga, a human body is guaranteed in his next existence, as stated by Lord Krishna. Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yog Bhrashato Vijayate. Yog Maya is the spiritual potency of the Lord. Out of affection for his devotees, the Lord always stays in spiritual touch with them. Although otherwise, his Maya potency is so strong that she bewilders even exalted demigods like Lord Brahma. Therefore, the Lord's potency is called Yog Maya. Since the Lord is Vishwatma, he immediately ordered Yog Maya to give protection to Devaki. Right? Tarun?
गच्छ देवी व्रजं भद्रे गोपा गोभिर अलंकृतम रोहिणी वासुदेवस्य भर्यस्ते नंद गोकुले अन्यश्च कंस संविघ्न न विवरेषु वसन्ति ही. Hare Krishna. The Lord ordered Yoga Maya, O my potency, who are worshipable for the entire world, and whose nature is to bestow good fortune upon all living entities. Go to Vraja, where there live many cohort men and their wives. In that very beautiful land, where many cows reside, Rohini, the wife of Vasudeva, is living at the home of Nanda Maharaj. Other wives of Vasudeva are also living there incognito because of fear of Kamsa. Please go there. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shiva Prabhu?
Dev kya jatre gabhan sheshakyam dham mamkam tat sannikrishya Rohinya Udare Sanniveshaya. Within the womb of Devaki is my partial plenary expansion known as Sankarshana or Sesha. Without difficulty, transfer him into the womb of Rohini. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Rohini, Vasudev's wife, also was living in along with everyone else, right? With the Vishnu ones. And so the seventh child of Devaki, where Sankarshan comes in, Lord Krishna instructs Yog Maya to transfer to the womb of Rohini. Yeah. And let's read the purport, Ajay.
The first plenary expansion of Krishna is Baldev, also known as Sesha. The Sesha incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead supports the entire universe, and the eternal mother of this incarnation is Mother Rohini. Because I am going into the womb of Devaki, the Lord said, Yog Maya, the Sesha incarnation, has already gone there and made suitable arrangements so that I may live there. Now he should enter the womb of Rohini, his eternal mother. In this connection, one may ask how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always situated transcendentally, could enter the womb of Devaki, which had previously been entered by 6 asuras, the Sad Garbhas. Does this mean that the Sad Garbhasuras were equal to the transcendental body of Supreme Personality of Godhead? The following answer is given by Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nisha.
The entire creation, as well as its individual parts, is an expansion of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, even though the Lord enters the material world, he does not do so. This explained by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 9.4-5. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina mata sthani sarvabhutani na chaham tesva avastita na cha matasthani bhutani pasya me yogam aishwaram bhuta bharna cha bhutostaho mamatma bhuta bhavana. By me, my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, myself is very source of creation. Sarvam kalva idam brahma. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Like how source of everything is Lord Sri Krishna, right? So,
Everything is an expansion of Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet everything is not the Supreme Godhead, and he is not everywhere. Everything rests upon him, and yet does not rest upon him. This can be explained only through the Achintya Bheda philosophy. Such truths cannot be understood. However, unless one is a pure devotee, for the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 18.55, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavam yaskasmi tatvataha. One who understands the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotion. One can understand the Supreme Personality as is only by devotional service. Even though the Lord cannot be understood by ordinary persons, this principle should be understood from the statement of the Shastras. A pure devotee is always transcendentally situated because of executing 9 different processes of Bhakti Yoga: Shravana, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada, Sevanam, Achanam, Vandonam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Thus situated in devotional service, a devotee, although in the material world, is not in the material world. Yet a devotee always fears, because I am associated with the material world, so many contaminations affect me. Therefore, he is always alert in fear, which gradually diminishes his material association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Basically, the point here which is mentioned is one can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. Bhaktyamam abhijanati. Only the devotional service, the devotees can understand the Lord, is what is mentioned. We'll pause here. We'll continue to read from here tomorrow. Yeah. And since we know Lord Krishna is taking avatar, yeah, we'll read from here and then let's hear the nice Krishna bhajan. Yeah. Okay, so the chantings of Sri Krishna Govind Hare Murari is around 6 to 7 minutes. Yeah.
Jai Jai Shyam, 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 Jai Jai Shyam.
Sri Krishna Govind Hare Murari, He Nath Narayan Vasudev.
Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari, He Nath Narayan Vasudev.
पित मात स्वामी सखा हमारे, पित मात स्वामी सखा हमारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव.
Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari, He Nath Narayan Vasudev. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari, He Nath Narayan Vasudev.
तुम में वास करे जग सारा, तुम जननी के उदर मझारा, नाथ चतुर्भुज अंतर्यामी, रघु विराट रूपों के स्वामी, रघु विराट रूपों के स्वामी, सूक्ष्म रूप धरि गर्भ पधारे, सूक्ष्म रूप धरि गर्भ पधारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव.
Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari, He Nath Narayan Vasudev. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari,
अवतारी, कहीं जन्मे कहीं पले मुरारी, किसी के जाए किसी के कहाए, है अद्भुत हर बात तिहारी, है अद्भुत हर बात तिहारी। गोकुल में जन्मे मथुरा के तारे, गोकुल में जन्मे मथुरा के तारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव।
श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, नाथ नारायण वासुदेव।
अधर पे बंसी हृदय में राधे, बट गए दोनों में आधे आधे, हे राधा नागर हे भक्त वत्सल, सदैव भक्तों के काम साधे, सदैव भक्तों के काम साधे। वहीं गए जहाँ गए पुकारे, वहीं गए जहाँ गए पुकारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव।
श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। जय जय श्याम जय जय श्याम, जय जय श्याम जय जय श्याम, जय जय श्याम जय जय श्याम, जय जय श्याम जय जय श्याम।
गीता में उपदेश सुनाया, तुमने सोया विश्वास जगाया, फल इच्छा से रहित कर्म को हर मानव का धर्म बताया, हर मानव का धर्म बताया। रहेंगे हम सब ऋणी तुम्हारे, रहेंगे हम सब ऋणी तुम्हारे, नाथ नारायण वासुदेव।
श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, नाथ नारायण वासुदेव।
श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव।
जय जय श्याम जय जय श्याम, 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 जय जय श्याम जय जय श्याम।
All right. So nice bhajan before Krishna takes place. And I think it's a long skand, a long canto, but the most beautiful one. So we'll continue to read tomorrow, 9:30. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.